Yes, Stephanie. Hello again, Stephanie. Yes. So I thought, yes, you've been so wonderful with help all the time.
Anytime. I don't do much. Anytime.
I don't do much.
No,
Right.
no, I don't.
Anyway, yeah, good.
It's great. We're all together in it. Oh, Anastasia's there. Oh, great. Anastasia from Russia's here.
See the
We're
sky.
in mute now.
What's that?
Mute now or wait till Geshe comes.
Perhaps, oh, yeah, when Geshe comes, mute. It's fine.
It did take me a little time to log in to the new system.
Welcome, Geshe.
Oh, Tashidele, hello.
Welcome on behalf of everybody.
Oh, good to see you. Hello, good to see you all.
Good to see you, Geshe.
Carol got new hairstyle.
I got the fringe.
Geshe, thank you for being with us. Thank you so much. And I have a few questions which people have sent, and I'm just trying to find the people, but perhaps to start with, Geshe, if that's okay. And can I just welcome everybody on YouTube live stream as well? Because we are streaming live on YouTube at the same time, which is great because it means that those who can't come for this interactive meeting, they're doing simultaneous translations on the YouTube, so it's a bit easier for them. And so this Q&A was brought about at Geshe-la's suggestion, and it's his offering to us as a wonderful way for us to ask the questions that have come up in our mind and during these amazing Lojong teachings, which so many hundreds and, in fact, thousands of people have seen. So we're incredibly, incredibly fortunate. So during the event, we'll just ask everyone to mute, except if you're speaking. And I will ask people at different times to ask a question. And if you did have a question that comes up for you during the talk, just write it into the chat, and the chat screen's at the bottom of your, the chat box is at the bottom of your screen, and we'll have a look at it, and then I'll ask you to ask the question at the right time. So perhaps what we might do, and can I just acknowledge we've got countries from all over the place here tonight. We've got North Cyprus and Russia and Malaysia and the US and many, many places. So welcome. It's so lovely to see your faces. And Venerable Lindy is the wonderful co-host, and she's my helper, as many would know, in many, many aspects of my life. So thank you, Venerable Lindy. So Geshe, we might start with Miffy's question, because Miffy, I think, is on YouTube because she does have trouble with Cisco sometimes. So her question is around the Tonglen practices, and she wants to know, Geshe, does Geshe suggest different Tonglen practices for different levels of student, and are some better than others, such as visualizations, such as the coal at the heart or smoke? Are they better than others for different situations? So her question is about Tonglen practices.
Okay. First of all, Tashidele to everyone. Tashidele, my respect to all the venerables and all brothers, sisters here. Wonderful to see some of your faces occasionally in some other teaching platforms, but then some of you not really for a long time. So I'm very happy to see all of you here. And also those who are watching through YouTube or whatever platform. Welcome to the question and answer session. And yes, of course, Stephanie, National Office, putting so much effort, organizing all the Lojong teachings, more than a year now. And also Peter from National Office, all the center directors, SPCs, all the Sanghas, and everyone. Yeah. So because of you all, I think we're able to travel quite steadily with the Dharma discourse through this very tsunami type of ups and downs from COVID, isn't it? So I thank to each and every one of you. Okay. Yeah, for today, question answer, I try my best to be brief so that we can cover more question and answers. Beside those who already submit the questions, after that, if we have some time, then individual can raise any questions, any clarifications, not necessarily related to Lojong teachings or even Dharma teachings, anything that some of you want to share. If we have time, share your thoughts, stories. So try to have a little bit of interactive and relaxed session. So I hope that I'm able to provide that, because sometimes I get distracted and talk too much and until time finishes. Because I also have another class coming up very much right after 1.5 hours time, I think. 2 hours time, yeah, right, 2 hours time. Okay, so now answer for the question, Tonglen practice. I think any practices, including Tonglen practice, it very much depend on individual's capability. There's no force. There's no kind of one design practice saying that, you must only do this. Buddha Dharma is very flexible, can be adjusted accordingly with individuals' liking, mental dispositions, capabilities, interests. So therefore, as long as the motivation is correct, as long as the purpose of the practice is correct, then if you follow one of the recommendations by the realized beings, because those recommendations, those techniques, also practice to do with Tonglen, those techniques are like 100% guaranteed going to produce the result. It's already went through the lab of very much of all the great Tibetan Mahasiddhas for 1,000 years, and all the great Indian Pandits, like especially 17 Pandits, almost 5,000 years, almost about, about 5,000 years, 5,100 over years. If we start from Nagarjuna, then about 5,100 years. So, and those methods never fail them. So like that. One thing that important in Buddha Dharma, there are warnings that we should not have a self-ambition kind of techniques. that which is not really recommended or not really, applied in the past of those realized beings. It's not because of there's no benefit, but then we may lose the opportunity of utilizing those best options. And sometimes we have this, we are very much influence, heavy influence of, self-importance, and more than that, the strong grasping of I. So when we have this false grasping to the I, then whatever that thought arises or whatever ambition that we expresses is very much sometime that more on the self-correctness, importantness, and then that sometimes limit our research and our interests to really grab the best points and the best practices, and most of the practices, the suggested practices by the Buddha himself and the realized masters, sometime it can be quite challenging to our ordinary mind, quite challenging to our old habits. Those techniques can be quite intense, and due to that, sometimes we may try to adjust and we may lose interest and we may try to find our own ways, so that kind of mistakes could happen. So therefore, I think that's the whole purpose of why we are learning, year after year, like almost whole life we are learning Dharma. We try to learn, we try to relate as close as possible to Buddha's own intent through the great treatise of the, the great treatise even of the Tibetan masters, making sure that they are reliant on the great treatise of the Nalanda Pandits. And knowing that Nalanda Pandits, they are absolutely based on Buddha's, Buddha's the collection of teachings of Kangyur. So, yeah, okay. So I'm kind of again distracting now. What I'm saying is that yes, you can use just now. I think Miffy asked the question. Whatever that you recommended, all those can be used. It's very much illustrated in the treatise. Maybe just some of the wording, just using some what you call synonymous terminologies. Otherwise, like black smoke, black shoot, when you take other suffering onto you, then yeah, so like that. So so depend on you. So what, depend on you. What makes most suitable. But the options best to use those recommended one. Yeah, something like that. Clear? Do you get? Okay.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you. I'm now going to ask Venerable Tenzin Drolma, who is residing in India, and we're very excited that she can be here. Thank you, Venerable, to ask her a question, which she has sent.
Sorry, I thought you were going to read it. So I don't remember exactly how I wrote it, but I was thinking about when we talk about decreasing our self-grasping. So we're working on that, trying to do that. And it occurred to me, and I think you said this early in these teachings with the Wheel of Sharp Weapon, that we can, when we recognize even having desires for this self, that when we recognize those and stop those, that can stop our self-grasping. Because even our sense of a conventional self has the self-grasping automatically because of our ignorance. So is this one way that we can decrease that self-grasping, is by more like Theravada style renunciation, where we don't follow our desires?
Thank you, Venerable. Yes, definitely. What you have said is very beneficial. And in fact, purifying self-grasping, the technique that you are just now, you referred to the Theravadan tradition, those are very effective and quite a drastic way, to eliminate the self-grasping, because the Theravadan tradition, in particularly the monastic practice, they're very serious the practice based on the Vinaya, and that comes more of not just in the thought, but even physically. You are, physically, verbally, and of course intention, that you are, you very much train to renounce, to really cut the chain from the object of your grasping, object of attachment grasping, aversion grasping, and the worst object is our own self-identity. Then also the basis of self-identity, the aggregates, in particularly mental and physical aggregates, the mental ideas and physical, the aggregate that we carry. So that's why you can see in the Theravadan tradition the practice of detachment, the simplicity. So those are extremely effective to actualize a genuine path, which is the mind of renunciation towards the distractions of delusions. We too, those who follow Mahayanic path, of course, those teaching has to be the basis. But sometimes there's a danger of carried away. There's sometimes danger of carried away because we emphasize more on our intention and our thoughts, and as long as our thoughts is correct, then our speech and our body will be all right. And sometimes if this is not carefully crafted to suit our practice, there's a danger of carried away. That then can really bring limitations to our practice, because as long as there's no guarding the obvious engagement to the destructive forces, the distractions, and the obvious engagement comes when our speech and our bodies are engaging with the object of distractions, like object of attachment, object of aversion. That's already kind of like the highest degree. So when we express from mind, yes, it can be very strong, but when that strong wears out, even greater force, then the physical and verbal start to engage. So the Theravadan tradition mind is important, but first we need to bring control of our body, and then speech, then mind. You know, of course, that also play by the motivation. So in a Mahayanic tradition, yes, mind is the main thing, but that doesn't mean the physical action, the verbal actions are discounted. So we equally have to take serious about the discipline of our speech and body, together with the strength of the mind. So in fact, the Mahayanic, people who follow Mahayanic Dharma, and especially Tantrayana, the moral discipline has to be even greater, greater discipline than the earlier tradition, in fact. So yes, whatever Venerable says, yes, that will cut down the grasping of ignorance.
So, yeah, so you're saying that when we control our body and speech, that will also stop our self-grasping because it stops our desires. It guards or controls our desires.
It will condition to overcome the desirous graspings, because delusional graspings are a mental factor. So earlier, what I mean is that the mental factor is so strong, then even physically, verbally also will engage in action, wrong actions.
Right.
So the important is the mind, yes, but controlling our body, speech, and mind also condition to overcome the ignorance and the delusion from our heart.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la, and thank you,
Venerable, having the line internet difficulty.
Yeah. Dharmsala, it's like that. Okay, thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. So next, we're going to be asking another Venerable to ask her question. So Venerable Cherky, are you still there? I know you've had internet problems up there.
Otherwise, we can move on to other question.
Yeah. Oh, are you there, Venerable Cherky?
Yes, I am.
Great. So I'll hand it over to you.
Geshe-la.
Yeah.
With the Tonglen, so in Bodhisattva's way of life, then Shantideva uses Tonglen as a practice, as a preliminary practice for developing shamatha, so Singapore concentration. So can Geshe-la explain that connection between how that practice of Tonglen becomes a foundation for practice shamatha?
I see. No, I think more because when you practice Tonglen, you accumulate a lot of merit. Tonglen practice also serve as a preparatory practices to actualize bodhicitta. The reason is the Tonglen practice is so powerful in the accumulation of merit and purifications of our negative imprints. So because of that, then the reason so that way it's easier to actualize like higher realizations on the path like bodhicitta. So similar may serve that kind of purpose, but it's not a direct. It doesn't really mean that Tonglen practice is a prerequisite for the shamatha realization. So so in the Shantideva's text, I can't remember exactly how the verses are defined. So since since the teaching on Bodhisattva Avacharya is based on the Mahayanic treatise, then you see, for actualizing special insight, then you have to master the Tonglen practice, to actualize special insight. The direct realization of emptiness on the basis of shamatha. In order to do that, the practitioner has to be already achieve realization on bodhicitta. So when someone, in order to actualize the realization of bodhicitta, that practitioner has to be already actualized perfected practice in Tonglen. So on that logical basis, yes, Tonglen do serve conducive conditions to actualize higher perceptions, such as special insight, which without shamatha won't able to do so. You see, so otherwise, Tonglen practice is not, it is not a prerequisite for general karma writing or shamatha. Without Tonglen, the shamatha can be actualized, because shamatha is a common path to all the three yanas. Shamatha is common path to all the three yanas, and Tonglen practice is not a common part to all the three yanas. Tonglen practice is only practice to the Mahayana. You see, so shamatha can be obtained by following the Hira path, by following the solitary path. There, the Tonglen is not cultivated. Yeah.
If I could ask one subsequent question in relation to the practice of Tonglen. So Geshe was saying earlier about ensuring that our practices are according to the great pandits and then according to the Buddha's teachings, according to Kangyur and so forth. So my understanding is that in those original practices, when we're visualizing, we're not there's no explanation of the visualization of black smoke or so forth. So it's not necessary, not a sort of must-do practice of Tonglen. That came subsequently.
Yes, it's not must do, but there are teachings suggested. Tonglen meditations. There's some are just recommended in simply using the platform of breathing in and out. When you breathe out, then you send the merits and happiness to other sentient being. When you breathe in, you take other suffering and causes suffering onto you. Simply that also, serve as a Tonglen practice. But then there are teachings that are very, very widely recommended, almost in all Mahayanic Dharma practices. If you want to engage in Tonglen practice, then the purifying the other suffering, when you take, then you take in the, black smokes, blood and pus, that whatever, such kind. So those are the recommendations, or even like a white lights. When you send out like a white lights, and when you take in those negativities, is a dark color kind of, black shoot or something like that. I think the word some days use black shoot or black smokes, like that. Yeah, so you can choose. You can choose. Earlier, what I mean, you see, relate to the authentic treatise. What I mean is, you see, when you do Tonglen practice, there's an accumulation and there's a purification aspect. So whenever there's a purification aspect, that even those recommended purification practice from Vajrasattva, you can apply in that. You can use that. You see, when you do the Vajrasattva purification, you know, like the 3 purification, all these 3 purification visualizations you can use when you take others' suffering onto you. So then when you do the visualization of blessing that comes to you, like light rays and the nectar, or when you do healing to others through medicine Buddha practice or through any deity yoga practices like light rays and the nectar. So when you do the giving from the Tonglen practice, giving, you can visualize those. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Geshe. And the next student we have is Dmitry Seymour, one of our Russian students. Dmitry, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Is there?
Are you there,
Is that
Dmitry?
Besides Anastia, is there any Russians out there?
Okay.
All the questions are coming from through Anastia.
We might ask him then to wait till the end, and I might ask Chu
Sure.
from Potowa study group in Wagga. Chu, would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question?
Yeah. Hello, Tashi Delegation.
Dele.
I'm not sure it'll be proper to say men are less emotional, but at least I know that I'm less emotional, and as such, compassion is a bit hard to achieve. I tend to be a bit more academic, more of reading and philosophical. And I think that's my challenge to be when I practice more of altruism motivation. That may not be probably not real enough, the altruistic motivation and some other practices.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if I explained correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe you and me are quite similar, maybe. Very cold-hearted. Just joking. You are definitely not. Maybe I may be rock-hearted, cold-hearted. I think it's very individual. Again, individual. You know, some men are more emotional than the women. You know, some women are much more harder than the man. So it's individual. So that's one thing. Generally, when you you know in Buddhist content, in particular in relation to practice of altruism, then yes, you know, woman is definitely regarded more favorable to the development of altruism, like compassion, love, bodhicitta. That is because of their heart is more moist, their heart is more sensitive, more reactive, more reactive to feelings, you know. So because of that, then the generation of loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta is easier to develop in the women's, you know. So so that is mainly, I think, the physical the physical I think very much to do with the physical aggregates, the physical differences from men and women. The women's, you know, physical aggregates build up, you know, to have that to I would say, to condition, their mind to be more sensible, more sensitive. Otherwise, fundamentally, the human, the conventional basis of the mind, all carry the altruistic nature, both men and women. In fact, all sentient beings carry both the ultimate as well as the conventional Buddha nature. Of course, the illustration more obvious is in human being compared to many other species. Then, so within that is equal, but then because of the conducive conditions of the physical aggregates, then that conventional altruism is regarded more easier to arise in the woman's 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 mind. You see, so in short, yes, women are much more easier to develop love, compassion, bodhicitta. So it's an absolutely favorable form, a very fortunate form. So generally, it's like that. Even though when you describe the categories of wisdom and method, women's actually falls wisdom. The men's falls in the category of method. You see, but then when it comes to developing the nature of the path, in fact, the Buddhist love, compassion, bodhicitta falls into method aspect of the path, and developing that, the woman's has a much greater potentials, easier, I mean, just in our human planet, those of the mothers, just the mothers. I mean, every human being is born from mother, and each and every one of those mothers, their quality, their quality of the compassion, of love, unconditional love, compassion, within that very lifetime, they definitely have illustrated at least to their child. For men, is not 100% sure. For some, yes, they do have opportunity. Some may not. Some may not have the privilege in life to unless it's a spontaneous, that influenced by past lifetime, or unless you have the condition. But then the condition is not necessarily as intense as a mother has for the child. Even though outwardly you may not define that, differences, but in actual fact, the mother's love and mother's compassion to their child is incompatible to anyone's love and compassion. So the mothers are the women, women are the mother. Father is not mother. The men, no, mother, isn't it? So you can see from there, amazing. Yeah. So therefore, yeah. So yes. So among the men, you and me, you are much better. No problem. You're okay. You're okay. So don't worry. You've been very kind. You've been very kind. I know you really. I don't know about your past, but the day I know you up to now, you really open your heart and you try to practice as serious as possible the altruistic way. You see, so from that point of view, your heart also how equal moist as the pear one, but your one definitely is moist one. But how intense moist as a pear, I have no idea. Well, you are still good. Okay, yeah, something like that.
That's beautiful. Geshe, this is a question from Dan Mailhot from Tasmania, who you know.
Yeah.
He says, hello, Geshe. Recently, you talked about a situation where a person maybe has to die to save 500 people from dying. So that is doing the wrong thing for the right reason. Can you talk about how this fits in the Buddhist way of thinking?
Yeah. So yeah, that could only happen in the realm of samsara. I mean, in Buddha's realm, in the pure realm, we don't have to weigh that kind of. There's no such situations to do wrong thing for the right reason. But in samsara, in the samsaric realm, there almost very much, almost in everything we have to do a lot of wrong things for the right reasons. there are a lot of situations comes in our day-to-day life, just like eating food, eating gross food, eating vegetables, spinach, salads, tomato. If we want to make it very, very, very subtle, then we are also eating all those vegetables. Wrong reason for the what's it? Wrong thing, wrong, wrong. What do you say? Wrong for the right reason?
Wrong thing for the right reason.
Yeah, wrong thing for the right reason. Because when you eat spinach, how many bacteria that has to cause their life? Is there any spinach or tomato where there's no bacteria out there? I think there's billions, maybe millions. At least hundreds. So when you chew them, you crush them. You melt them when you eat them, isn't it? But we eat the food to sustaining this precious human rebirth, which regarded so precious, so beneficial for the greater purpose. Greater purpose, achieving the ultimate benefit of yours, ultimate benefit of numberless sentient beings' well-being, the Buddhahood. For that, this precious human rebirth, you have to sustain. And in many cases, not just vegetable, even with the vegetable also, you see, until we don't reach to the stage that we can sustain with samadhi food, a lot of distractions, a lot of disruptions for other beings' life. Even we are vegetarian, even we drink sip of water. You see, so all these are things subtly. We are doing all these wrong things for the right reason. So in samsara, very difficult to have like completely 100% virtue. It's very difficult. But you see, so yeah, but better than nothing. But it has a greater benefit. And there are many practitioners who literally need to eat meat because of their health issue. Medical doctors, they recommend for you to eat meat to sustain your body. And even some great lamas, they consume for the benefit of, for the Dharma practices, for greater practices, even though there are purification practices. But as long as directly or indirectly that you cause even a little slightest pain to anyone, it's still negative. Even how powerful mantra you bless, it still cause pain to other, and that is not a like 100% pure virtue, you see. But there's a greater benefit. For that reason, you need to eat. So in that reason, you see. So then, like I usually give an example of this monk and the hunt, the monk and the hunter and the deer. The hunter chasing the deer, and there's a T-junction. The monk know where the deer went. If the monk tell truth, the deer's life definitely going to cost. The monk knows that. If monk tells lie, he's going to commit a karma of lying. So in that junction, so he need to weigh the intensity of the negative consequences or the nature of the the negative nature of the action, the lie and the causing life. So negative nature in the lie compared to the negative nature in the causing of life of someone is much more lighter, but it's still negative, you see. So now the monk has to lie in order to save the deer. So monk creates so much merit of saving the life of a sentient being, the deer, but also create substantial negative karma of lying, because lying by nature is negative, and especially for monk, from the Vinaya rule also double demerit. You see? But even it is double or triple or 1,000 times demerit also, lie is far more lesser negative consequences than you contribute to the cause of someone's life. Even it can be just a deer or ants. You see, so so because of the power of the virtue that you accumulate, and the the negative karma that you committed, easily can be purified. So therefore, in life, we have so many such kind of junction, and it is this is the way how we choose. Of course, if there is a complete virtuous way, then of course we should choose that way. So similar, these 500 merchants and the bodhisattva that who killed the one black-hearted man who going to cause the life of the 500 merchants. His intention is very clear. Very clear. He also know very clear about the karmic consequences. So he know the whole aspect of how the karma works, and based on that, he caused the life of that one man that who going to commit unbelievable heavy negative karma of causing life of 500 people. So the Bodhisattva saved that one bad man's negative consequences, also saved the negative karmic, the collective karma that commit in relation to the 500 merchants. So of course the Bodhisattva did commit negative karma of causing life of others, but didn't really create a complete karma of killing, because there's no intention. The intention is I think there is intention, but the intention is motivated by altruism. You see, even though the direct intention to the wanting to kill that one man, reasonalized by a more powerful positive intention behind, not complete negative intention. You see, so that way didn't create a karma of killing, the whole karma of killing. You see, so therefore easier to purify, because when you want to create a karma, negative or positive, the complete karma, you need 4 factors, isn't it? The intention, then the correct object, and the action, and the conclusion. So all this need to be involved. Yeah, something like that.
Thank you so much, Geshe.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if Dimitri is there. Are you there, Dimitri? I know that you did unmute yourself, but I couldn't hear you. So we'll just see if Dimitri's there.
Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
Dear Geshe, good time of the day. I'm very happy to see you, and I just
Same here.
wanted to and I wanted to ask you if you could give us a transmission of Yamantaka mantra, because it seems I have missed it when you did it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, maybe we can do it at the end. If you are staying until the end.
Yes, yes, please. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Geshe. Thank you, Dimitri. And now I'm going to ask Anastasia, oh no, sorry, Tony and Carol, if you would like to ask your question.
Oh, Teshidale.
Teshidale.
Geshe, His Holiness supports scientific investigation in relation to the Dharma, and I'm wondering, in regards to the unification of method, wisdom, experiencing great bliss within the human body, how would you scientifically, is there a scientific explanation so far with regard to sort of physiology within the body of what's happening there?
So far, there's no clear, clear illustration on those subjects. Even though, if someone whose mind is calm with a virtue like love and compassion or altruism, then the scientific already found that there's a lot of positive function of the cells and the immunes in the body, etc. But when you talk about from the tantric point of view, what you call the clear light experiences, the experience of void of empty, the emptiness, experience of great bliss. So these are very much experience of subtle consciousness. Not even experience of gross mind. Our ordinary usual awareness also cannot experience them. So I think for sciences, I think would be very hard to detect them. You see, so for science, very much needed some tangible basis, even though it can be a micro, micro things, but still you need something as a tangible or. So I don't think the science is still science from the modern science. I don't think that they have, and they may not even in the future to really able to reach all the way up to the detecting these subtle conscious experiences. Even though there are some observations going on in relation to clear light, but those are very much observing the gross basis, like what happens to the body, what happens to the normal cell, what happens to the heat, what happens to the moist in the body, and the reaction very much related to those physical factors. The physical doesn't mean just a physical body, but more gross, you see. But I don't think that they still able to detect exactly what is the subtle consciousness is experiencing of the clear light. I don't think so. But I believe it's not for my personal thinking. Science is very important, very beneficial, but preservation of Buddha Dharma cannot rely on the science. And that's my thinking, you know. Science is very beneficial. The science tool can able to you know, convince many people, many newcomers, many intellectuals. But my personal belief after today, I think a lot about that. My personal belief, the actual Buddha's intent, I don't think science can detect and science can experience. Because the actual Buddha's intent is to realize the path within, realizing it. You know, all the blah blah we talk, all the 84,000, everything has to be realized as a path within, you know, our continuum. And that is only can be experienced by individual, that person, no one else. No one else. You know, Buddha can perceive as an omniscient due to omniscient mind. But the true person, even someone reached 10 bhumis, your realization cannot experience accordingly by me. My realization cannot be experienced by even if you are already in the 10 bhumi, in a meditative equipoise, you won't be able to experience exactly what I experience, the realization. So no way the science can able to do that. This is my thinking. Because also my another thinking, if you depend too much on the science, then there's a danger of Buddhism disappearing also. This is my own concern. Because science has so much limitation, and also there's no steady commitment. You know, like today's genius will discover something, and that genius they regard as this is ultimate. But tomorrow another genius come out, say that today's is evolve. You know, so altruism, emptiness is a nature. You know, it cannot evolve, it cannot change. It is the ultimate nature. You see, and those ultimate natures only can be confirmed, detect by individual through application of practice, not by machine. I don't think so. But what His Holiness is doing is extremely important, especially in today's time and coming days time. For the what do you call the you know, for the especially for the intellectual preservations of the Buddha Dharma, so that when the science say yes, you know, very much everybody say yes. and that doesn't take long time. You know, that doesn't take long time. You know, science maybe maximum 1, 2, 3 years put into the lab, maybe you can find something. You know, oh, if you practice compassion, it really works. You know, there's a good iman is going on. Oh, everybody start to practice compassion. Well, wonderful, isn't it? But for individual to convince by practicing compassion to realize that compassion is so beneficial may take few lifetimes. You never know. So something like that. So I'm a bit confused person in that.
Thank you very much, Geshe. Now, there are questions coming in on the YouTube live stream, where we have a lot of people, a lot of students are on the YouTube live stream. And Ben Aitchison has a question. Does practicing ethics and other relative practices directly influence our realization of emptiness, or does it just make it easier than if we didn't practice ethics at all?
Oh, ethics definitely serve as causes for realization on emptiness. So ethic, you know, the 3 higher trainings, ethic serve as a basis causes for special insight, like shamatha, and of course wisdom. You see, so without ethic, emptiness is not possible. Without disciplined mind, emptiness is not possible. So the best disciplined mind comes from more observations of ethics, moralities. So in fact, without ethic, no realization in any path. No realization in sutra, no realization in tantra, no realization in vinaya. Everything is the basis is the ethic.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Geshe.
Thank you.
I'm now going to ask Anastasia from Russia. Now, Anastasia, everybody, I'd like to introduce. She's the FPMT Russian coordinator, and she works with the wonderful translators in Russia who who are very dedicated students of Geshe and who translate every Sunday and other teachings too. So, Anastasia, I'm wondering if you would like to read out the question from Vladimir.
Also, please enjoy your drinks. You can move around. Take it easy, okay? Yeah, I hope you will take it easy.
Hello, good morning and good afternoon.
Good morning.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Geshe, for your teachings. And we've got a question from a Russian YouTube student, Vladimir Moiseyev, and he asks, Venerable, what is the best practice you could advise for lay men and women who lives in the big cities? Is it possible to gain realization without doing retreats?
Mm. Mhm. Okay. Yeah, you can gain. Okay. Yeah, you cannot gain realization on the path, I think, without retreat. I think in order to actualize realization on the path, I think retreat is needed. But the retreat doesn't mean those conventional kind of retreat, like, go to cave, and do retreat. It doesn't mean that. Retreat meaning, retreating your mindfulness, retreating your mind from distractions of delusions, distractions of worldly concerns, and that is the real retreat. Even you go to retreat somewhere else in an isolated place, that's the main practice, like counting mantras, meditation on other lumbering topics are the one aspect. The main practice of the retreat, those are the tools that you use to retreat your heart, retreat your mind, your mindfulness. So as long as you have how to say, suitable practices that you can relate in your busy life, in the city life, and from there, you purify your negativities and accumulate your virtues. You can gain enlightenment while being busy in the city and while living in the city. You see, so like such as practice of, loving kindness, compassion. If you know this practice, then in the big community, you can apply those teachings right away, right in your day-to-day life. Then if you have emptiness wisdom, at least in understanding, then when you deal with day-to-day busy situation, you learn to interpret all those in the emptiness wisdom, like see every people, every situation as an illusion alike. Then when you come back home, you take 5-10 minutes to just stay in a meditative absorption on voidness of inherent existence. So that way, you are practicing well, isn't it? Yeah. But for some individual, especially at the beginner level, we do need some time to prepare ourselves to really to be able to manage to integrate our Dharma understanding into actual practice in our day-to-day life. So for that, then really dedicating, conducive places like monasteries, like holy places, or even in your house, really dedicating some time to do dedicated retreats. It's like very concentrated training, So once you are ready, certain discipline is gained. Then when you go into the public, then you're able to manage them. You see, so for some beginners, require like that. So it depends again for individual. Some people going away not necessarily help them much. Like going dedicating, in an isolated retreat, not necessarily feel beneficial for some people. For some individuals, it could be due to the force of their past life, strong imprint in compassion, in Dharma practices. They really enjoy and they feel from very beginning, they're able to manage to deal the busy situation, transform them into the practice. So again, it depends on individual, I think.
Thanks very much, Geshe. Our next questioner is Ching, and I think Ching is in Sydney. Is that right, Ching?
Yes, I'm in Sydney. Tashidele, Geshe-la, and everybody. Geshe-la, my question is a bit similar. It's, in our busy daily lives, especially when we're working long hours and in difficult situations, could you please give us some guidance on what's the best way to practice Lojong?
Yeah, the best way, it all comes to the two essential point, practice of, altruism and practice of altruistic attitude and altruistic wisdom in relation to, in relation to any situation comes in your way at a workplace, anywhere. Everything try to interpret in the mind of bodhicitta and in the mind of emptiness, which is not easy, but at least start with motivation. You see, before you go to work, you at least set a proper bodhicitta motivation, and remind the wisdom of emptiness in your heart. Then during the work busy day, you may not remember them, but at least there will be a great influence through your motivation. Then when you conclude the day, and at least remember to dedicate in bodhicitta. If in case that the day didn't really went well, as you motivated, then in the practice of bodhicitta, try to purify, try to accumulate some merits, like through the practice of four opinion power preparing practices. Then you dedicate the merit to those to whom that you have a hard time. Then also conclude the day with try to purify the clinging, whether good thing happens or bad thing happens, nothing to be cling, nothing to grasp onto it. So by remembering the emptiness nature, just settle everything in emptiness nature in your understanding, so therefore, even if there's a karma committed, there's no powerful antidote than emptiness. Like, even very bad time, have quarreling in the workplace. When you come back, you purify, meditate, understanding the nature of you and the people and what happened, everything, everything dissolve into empty, empty of its nature. And have a reminded, do remind that there's no inherent me who had hard time with people. There's no inherent them, and there's no inherent negative karma. There's no inherent anger or whatever. So just dissolving into emptiness, not only able to purify the karma you committed, but at the same time, you're able to move on purely. Then you start the next day, something like that, So gradually, I think that will able to lead oneself, even in the action time, that you will be always mindful in either bodhicitta or either emptiness. Yeah. So take everything everything on the path to enlightenment. Yeah, something like that.
Thank you so much, Geshe. The next
Thank you.
question is from the YouTube stream, and it's our familiar friend, Alexandra Shaveriev, and he has asked, in middle Lam Rim quotes, in the middle Lam Rim, there's a quote, the method for completely purifying the obscurations in the last two perfections, because the afflictions are completely purified by concentration and obscurations to objects. And then the next part of that is, to knowledge are completely purified by wisdom. Can Geshe comment on afflictions are completely purified by concentration?
Here, the afflictions are purified, even though there's a word attached with concentration. It's referring to special insight. It's referring to special insight. It's not talking about just the karma-biting concentration can be able to purify the affliction. It's not talking about that. It's talking about special insight. Yes, special insight is the one, is the ultimate antidote. And when you talk about a special insight, that is the union of the last two perfections, the perfection of concentration and perfection of wisdom. You see, the union of that. So that will able to purify the entire defilement, entire obscuration, in particularly to purify the obscuration to omniscient, then a special insight is much needed. Special insight is much needed. Yeah, so like that.
Thank you so much, Geshe.
Thank you.
And Anastasia, I'm also wondering if you wanted to ask the question from Olga and Maria that was sent to Geshe before. Did you wish to do that now, Anastasia?
Sure. Geshe, we've sent you full version, so probably I won't read all the question, just mention main point. The Olga and Marina write, so we came to the following conclusion. We are pure consciousness without duality, not clouded by anything. Second point is, all that the eye sees is a reflection of the inner state of itself. As it were, the observed is the observer. And the third point, inner accumulated experience in memory is projected outward and creates pictures which the eyes sees. This is in turn transmits the picture to the brain and creates the feeling that what the eye sees in reality. And so the question, what is this screen? Where, how, and by what means does objectification occurs when the thoughts become objects? And then another question, why and who needs this? Why does the consciousness need to cognize anything in this way?
Mm. Mm. Yeah. So anyway, oh yeah. So in order to actualize, okay, first of all, until someone is realize emptiness directly, then our mental perceptions, our sensual perceptions, all comes in the dualistic manner. So all those perceptions falls in the dualistic perception. And this dualistic perception can be understood in a few different ways. One, you can understand dualistic in the sense that it carry the it carry the apprehension in the true existence. Another understanding is it carry the apprehension, the object in substantial existence. And you can also understand which in fact earlier all the mention the false perception also carry the apprehension in permanent perception. So because of that, it conclude our ordinary perceptions are false perception. So because of that, even though false perception to actualize the ultimate truth, but it is true to the conventional reality. It is true to the conventional reality. So because of it is true to the conventional reality, therefore, when the eye consciousness sees the object, you really see the object. You really see the object. So it is true to the conventional truth, but is false to the ultimate truth. So that's one thing. Now, in order to perceive the object generally, conventionally, you need three factors have to come together. Eye organ object, then the eye mental perception, and the object, the physical object to which the eye perception is going to engage. So these three things have to come together. So simple example, whatever even though the object is there in whatever way it may be, but the object to be seen is there, and eye consciousness is there, eye organs is there, is not necessary. It is even in the ordinary conventional way, is not necessarily can be perceived valid object. Like such as someone who carry jaundice eye, jaundice. Then when jaundice eye, jaundice eye lens, even though the eye consciousness is still intact, but the eye lenses or the eye organ it got a jaundice, then you perceive the white snow mountain, you perceive green or blue snow mountain. So even though there's no blue snow mountain, but then you perceive blue snow mountain. So when you talk about when you interpret in relation to ultimate reality, is totally false. So even though the common perception is valid to the conventional truth, but even in the conventional truth also can occur false. The example given as a jaundiced eye perceiving blue mountain, and not the Australian blue mountain, the usual white mountain, seeing as a blue mountain, like that. So you see, yeah, so like something like that. Yes, brain play a major role when it comes to sensual perceptions, but brain does not play a main organ for the sensual perception to integrate with its object. You know, brain is just one other factor. You know, it more like conditional factor. Like that. As far as concerned with our mental, our conscious, mental conscious, number 6, mental conscious factor, then in order to perceive the object, not necessarily even require brain. Brain can be totally out of picture. You can use the brain when you carry the like such as a human birth, then many expressions of our conscious brain has a great play, but major the conscious dealing with the object, brain does not require. So that's why even after like clinical death occur, when the brain is dead, the consciousness has a full picture, even much more clearer than the past. Much more attentive, much more accurate. Then our mind, that which has to depend on the brain's health. You see, so yeah. So something like that. So I don't know whether I answered the question or not, but did I answer the question? You said I'm talking about this. So can you say that? Or maybe I can try to be direct. So I have given just overall idea. So now.
Unfortunately, I don't have connection with those who asked the question, Marina and Olga. So
okay,
hopefully
no problem.
It was in general good reply for them.
Okay, no problem. So I think, yeah, something like that. So every perception, every mind interacting with object not necessarily has to depend on brain. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Geshe, for answering that very involved question, which we'll make sure that we put it out in the chat when we upload the recording. Geshe, I'm wondering, as I know Geshe has another teaching, whether Geshe wished to do the Yamantaka mantra now, or when does Geshe, because it's 6:24, what suits Geshe? I'm just wondering.
I have another 15 more minutes, no problem.
Oh, great.
Is there any other questions? All the questions that people sent already asked?
Except for a couple of questions, but the people aren't here. So I'm just going to ask, okay, yes, Geshe, there is another question from Diana from the YouTube live chat, and she has asked, if mental consciousness is the brain, what is the mind? Oh, if mental consciousness is the brain, what is the mind consciousness? Is that what Christians call the soul?
No, mental consciousness is not brain. Mental consciousness is not brain. Yeah. And Buddhism don't believe in soul.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Unless your the questions you send all finish.
No, not really. There is coming more questions, so maybe.
No, before you wrote to me that the question sent to me, from there all finish.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And the Stephanie you sent to me also finish.
Unmute.
Okay. How about from the group here who's in the present? Do you have any questions? Any other questions? Anything?
We've got two questions from Russian YouTube.
Sure, please ask.
Can I, or should somebody
Yeah,
else?
please. Anastasia, please.
Yes, okay. So question from Oleg. Thank you, Geshe-la, entrepreneurs and those who help organizing these teachings of Geshe-la. It really inspires me. I don't stop watching. My question, I've got a feeling that being in a solo retreat is better than becoming ordained, becoming a monk. What do you think about it? Is it so?
It depend on individual. It depend on individual. Becoming Sangha, there's a great benefit. As I mentioned before, when we had conversation with Venerable Anidoma, from the Vinaya perspective, from the Theravadan perspective, the Vinaya perspective, when you become Sangha, then the main practice is the Vinaya. So the Vinaya, directly bring a lot of restriction on your speech, on your body, about physical activities, and there are a lot of vows. You see, so whether you like it or not, it makes you such a hard time to do a lot of wrong things. I find when I wear shorts, I walk on the street, and I wear robes. Huge difference. Just completely. It's not just the mind. Just wearing robe. It's not because of grasping to the rope. Somehow, even the hair, shaving hair, and not shaving hair. For me, it makes huge difference. That the mindfulness and the discipline, huge discipline. But it doesn't mean the lay people should shave their head. It doesn't mean like that. Once you become ordained, then after you ordain, then you start to keep hair and you start to shave hair. Huge difference. After you get ordained, wearing robe and walking on the street and wearing just a short walking on the street, huge difference. And last time in India, you go in the bus, so sometimes go when you get to Bangalore, sometimes just relax and wear. That time some of the naughty monks like me, want to go to watch movie in the movie theater, the Hindi Dishung movie. So so then it's very difficult to go with the robes, isn't it? So you wear shorts, and your talking, your physical gesture, even when you talk to the same shop to buy coffee, you talk bit out of wild way, But when you go with the robes, you somehow become so, so kind of like controlled, But that control, maybe you can use discipline, It doesn't mean control, but make it very uneasy to do. So Sangha, becoming Sangha, there's a great benefit. As we mentioned before, morality is the foundation for all the higher paths. You see, of course, there are moral conduct from the Bodhisattva precepts, tantric precepts. Yes, but if you have the opportunity to become sangha, then there's a great benefits. You see, but those who don't have opportunity, you can choose other paths to discipline your mind. Discipline your body, speech, and mind also. That's why Buddha says that whether Buddha, the survival of Buddha Dharma is very much dependent on the survival of Vinaya. And the survival of Vinaya very much depend on the survival of Sangha community. It didn't say survival of yogics, survival of retreaters, survivals of just learned one or anyhow practices. Didn't say that. So you see, so Sangha community, it doesn't mean just a group of monks and nuns. It's talking about the vow, the preservation of the vow. You see, so you say when there is no, so again in the sutra it says, when you will realize the Dharma is disappearing, the time that even you have such a rare to see even the color maroon, the saffron robe, when you so rare to see the saffron robe, and that is the sign called the era of sign. Means era, the time reached to this so rare to see even the robe. No question about seeing Oden Sangha visibly, but even to see the sign, the color also so difficult like that. Yes, then retreat. Other one is what? Sangha and what?
And to be in a solo retreat.
Oh, retreat. Solitary retreat depend. You do solitary or you do group retreat. As I mentioned before, retreating is must. You see, retreating. In fact, when you become monk or nun, actually you are retreating. You are retreating. You see. In Tibetan, the retreat called Tsam. Tsam is very much like bordering. So bordering, you set the border. The border can be border between delusion and non-delusion, border between worldly concern and concern of liberation, border between negativities and virtue. So minimum, when you follow Buddha's path, we have the first step is to do retreat, to engage in the retreat from indulging in non-virtuous. Minimum, like minimum 10 non-virtuous, like that. So solitary retreat depend, but retreat must. And survival of Dharma, Sangha must. So I can say like that.
Thank you, Geshe. We have a couple more questions that have come up. One from Carolyn Ming. Does Geshe have enough time for that?
Sure, please.
Carolyn, would you like to ask your question?
Thank you. Thank you, Geshe. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
I would like to ask Geshe for some short contents for us to meditate daily on emptiness. It's a pressing question for me because I'm trying to meditate on emptiness, but I
Can
can't
you say
get
short or sharp? What do you say?
sharp and short.
Okay.
A short emptiness meditation on a daily basis. The words.
Okay. Yes, short emptiness meditation. According with all the Nagarjuna's teachings, Shantideva's teachings, everywhere, Lamrim, sum up to meditate in two thoughts, session and post-session. During post-session, everything you regard as illusional light. during the session, everything conclude into void of any apprehensions, any graspings, you see, absolute empty of inherent. You sum up this. So short and sharp. These two. Okay? Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you think, you regard, everything is like illusional-like, everything like illusional-like. Is not as real as how you perceive, how you think, how you hear. It has so therefore innately there's nothing to be apprehended or grasped, apprehended as it seems, and grasped at it seems. So that's one thing. Then whenever you get a chance to quiet yourself, then you do short meditation, simply void of anything to be grasped. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe. Is there time for one more question? Or is that it?
Please.
One more.
Please.
Megan Phillips. Hi, Megan. Would you like to put your microphone on and ask your question?
Hello, Geshe.
Hello.
A couple of weeks ago, we did the shorter teaching on emptiness. And in that teaching, you mentioned there was one term, and I'm sorry, I can't remember it, but it was the main object of negation when we're meditating on emptiness, and it was about 3 or 4 words. If you if you remember what it is, I just wondered if you could just briefly expand on what that meant.
So main object of negation, the most subtle one, is a substantial existent.
Yeah.
So that is substantial existent. If that make it slightly lighter, then true existent, and that make it lighter, dualistic existent. Then independent existent, permanent existent, autonomical existence. So all these falls into negation, to actualize empty of self and actualize the emptiness of self and phenomena. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Everyone
you.
okay? Everyone happy? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then, yes. Oh yes. Yametaga mantra for our brother here. Yeah. So. General refuge in Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and also the altruistic intention. Sanje chudan so yuzuna la janju bado dani jeso jidage chiso jebe sonam jitola benje sanje ruba sanje chudan so yuzuna la janju bado dani jeso jebe sonam jitola sanje ruba sanje chudan so yuzuna la janju bado dani jeso dage jeso jebe sonam jitola benje sanje ruba sanje chudan so yuzuna la janju bado dani jeso dage jeso jebe sonam jitola benje sanje ruba sanje tamje dewa da dewe juda debe sanje tamje tonga da tonga juda dewa sanje tamje tonga mebe dewa da mirawa ju sanje tamje nyire chadani da dewa tanyo la ne par ju sanje tamje dewa bejuda de par ju sanje tamje tonga da tonga Simjadam Jenny Jada Nidan Ravi Daniel and never Yurje, Simjadam Dawada David, the Deborah, Simjadam Simjadam Jenny Jada Nidan Ravi Daniel and never Yuruji. Omoshiti would it done on a home pet. Omoshiti would it done on a home pet. Omoshiti would it done on a home pet. Om Arapazana di, Om Arapazana di, Om Arapazana di. Om Yamanaza Satome Yamedro Naya de Yada in the Raya Gag and the Ramaya Home Pepe. So Om Yamanaza Satome Yamedro Naya de Yada in the Raya Gag and the Ramaya Home Pepe. So Om Yamanaza Satome Yamedro Naya de Yada in the Raya Gag and the Ramaya Home Pepe. Om Yamentaga Home, Om Yamentaga Home, Om Yamentaga Home. Dedicating Bodhicitta, emptiness, and unification of